when I was writing the book, I re I re-engineered, I reversed engineered how I conquered my goals. That's how I
Hmm.
came up with it. I went through everything I've accomplished, and that's how I came up with the 5 steps. This one actually came out. I wasn't planning on writing a book.
Yeah.
I decided I was gonna do a TED Talk, and as I was investigating and going through the steps of that, I realized I had to be really fine-tuned on what those 15 minutes would be, something so
Mm.
passionate that I was so passionate about that it would just be natural.
Today's episode is brought to you by Andy Bovender, the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. Him and his team have helped more than 5,000 families. 5,000. That is an incredible number. If you have a client who's been thinking about making a move to or from the Carolinas, give Andy's team a call. They will 100% be taken care of. Today's episode is with Debbi DiMaggio. And to give you some context, Debbi is a 35-year veteran in the real estate space. She runs a brokerage, has a team, is a published author. I'm always in awe of all the things that she's doing out there in the world. And in addition to, she's working on a new book. It's Mindset in Motion. And we talk about the mindset behind making decisions and executing on them and coming out on the other side better than you were. So if you're interested in getting a signed copy of the book, go to mindsetinmotionbook.com and grab your copy today. As always, I'm your host and referral partner out of San Francisco, Sean Conkler. Debbi, I think this is part 3.
I know, yeah.
Welcome back. Every time we talk, I'm always in awe, honestly. The amount of stuff you do, you're like an onion. Like every time I peel back a layer, I'm like, oh, there's a whole nother layer here. And then we peel back another layer and then another and another. And I'm just like, honestly, I'm always in awe. Now you told me the other week, you're like, and I'm writing a book. And I'm like, how many, like, do you not sleep? Like, what do you?
Sleep is such a wasted time.
That's one of my good friends always used to say, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Exactly. I mean, but now that I'm very into biohacking and reverse aging, I know how important it is. So I really do try to get some sleep. But
Mm.
yeah, I'd prefer not just to work straight through.
One of my good friends is actually a doctor of sleep, and that's
Oh,
what
wow.
she studies. And she's like, it's literally for entrepreneurs. It's the number one thing they can improve to improve performance.
Absolutely. Did she give you any tricks on, no,
There's an episode, but there's a lot of little subtle things you can do.
right,
Um, the big thing was it's basically just adhering to a schedule
right,
is kind of that's like the biggest most important thing because your brain and your body go through cycles,
right.
so they get used to the pattern. And so if you're waking up at the same time every day, your body before that period knows to start coming out of the cycle and moving forward.
The weirdest thing with me is I can be anywhere in the world and still wake up at the same time. It doesn't matter that the clock is like, I'm in New York, I'm still gonna wake up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm from the East Coast, and that's always the problem. I'm always on the wrong schedule, and it takes me like a good, I would say good 5 days
Yeah,
to flip over to the
yeah.
new schedule. And then if I'm there for a week, it's awful because then it's like I get 2 days on their schedule and I'm like back and I'm totally screwed up.
I know. It's tough. But yeah, sleep is super important, so
But let's talk about your book. The
yeah.
one, when is it coming out for starters?
Alright, so my goal is February because I am currently editing, and I had no idea that I would edit literally 1 page at a time. The other day I was on 53 and I got to 56 and I'm like, "Oh." I'm like so I this whole weekend today and this weekend, I'm gonna continue editing because then I have my deadline with my book coach on Monday, and then she'll pick up the edits, and then we're going in tandem, so hopefully we'll be done, and then we'll give it to a proofreader who will check all the commas and punctuation, etcetera.
Yeah.
Uh, It is called the mindset. It's called Mindset in Motion. Actually, there's a longer name to that. It's a proven framework for personal transformation.
Hmm.
And it was a book I did not intend on writing. But the reason why I do so many things is because anytime I get an idea in my head, I have to get it out. So that is why. It's not like something that I can control. It's like if an idea is in my head, it'll keep going until I get it out. I get obsessed about wanting to share or teach someone or inspire
Hmm.
someone, and it has to come out. So that's why this one came out. This one actually came out. I wasn't planning on writing a book.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to do a TED Talk. And as I was investigating and going through the steps of that, I realized I had to be really fine tuned on what those 15 minutes would be, something so
Mm.
passionate that I was so passionate about that it would just be natural. And as I thought about what that might be, I started journaling and writing and writing and writing. And then I realized I had too many topics and I really had to hone down. And then that's when I realized within less than 24 hours of deciding to do the TED Talk, I said, I need to write a book so I can gain clarity. So that's where I am today. And that's where the mindset in motion method, a 5 step method was born. I'm very into um, words and what was it, mnemonic devices
Mm.
and together, I have something, the 5 C's of real estate and foundation for success and all these different things that I come up with. So because I do coach our agents and I coach other people who want to be coached as well. But I always try to break it down and make it easy for people so they can learn, grab hold of something and follow a plan so it makes it easier for them. I'm all about breaking things down and making it easy for people to learn.
And you do, like, even those, they're grabby, like they're so simple and they're very clear and succinct that you just it's easy for your brain to grab it and hold it, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's clear, that makes sense, and you can move on. um and so this book is not, it sounds like it's not specifically for real estate agents,
No.
it's
Well,
for
no, it's for anyone. It's really for anyone. It's anyone who's looking to conquer a goal.
Hmm.
So, anyone with a service product or brand, yes, in business, but anyone who's wanting to go into their next chapter or being forced. Okay, someone gets a divorce, someone's going through a divorce, they would follow the steps. Someone's going through the empty nest, they can follow the steps. Someone's trying to achieve a goal, follow the steps. Someone wants to get a new job, follow the steps. So it's really for anyone who wants to conquer their goals.
I mean, and I think, in my experience in my life, when you're growing and not necessarily achieving, but just going through that growth period, like going after something, that's always when you're happiest. That's when
Right.
I'm happiest.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not all goals are, like going through divorce is not fun. It's not like, okay, this is my goal. I'm going to write a book or
No.
something or some great goal, but you do have to get through it and you do have to get help. So
Yeah.
if you want, I can walk you through through divorce or empty nest. I won't go through a goal. That's pretty easy. But um, if you want, I can go through the 5 steps for you.
Yeah, let's high level them. I think that would be, it would be really helpful for people to get context of the
Yeah.
book. And
So
then and I'll tease it out there, but there's, if they stay tuned, there's a really awesome thing that they could be a part of.
absolutely, absolutely. So the first thing you have to do is have a goal or a dream. So whatever that is, it could be anything. And let me tell you how came across this. When I was writing the book, I re I reversed engineered how I conquered my goals. That's how I
Hmm.
came up with it. I went through everything I've accomplished, and that's how I came up with the 5 steps. So first thing, whether it was my podcast or running the LA Marathon or writing books or going through the empty nest, I used
Or starting a business,
or
or
starting a
having an
business.
amazing team, having record sales. I mean, your track record. I'm serious, and I mean it with all sincerity. I'm always blown away when I hear like the other thing that you've achieved. Like you're like, oh well, yeah, and I did that, and I'm just like, when? When
I,
did you do this? Like,
I know, yes, and I am a real estate agent full time of 35 years. That's just an aside. These are all fun things I'm talking about. Real
That's
estate's fun
wild.
too, but that's what I do in my day-to-day life is real estate, 24/7.
That's
All right.
wild. Sorry, I digress. I completely
No,
derailed where
thank
you were
you.
on so you reevaluated your goals, and that
Yeah.
was
So I
how you
reverse
came up with it.
engineered everything to get where I am. So the first thing is you have to identify your dream or your goal or what it is. So let's just go through someone in transition. Let's say it is a divorce or an emptiness. So you've got someone who is like, I have to get through this. I'm going through divorce. I
Mhm.
have to get through it. And a lot of times people are, of course, they're kind of paralyzed. Someone asked me the other day, how do we know when someone is not moving forward? It's they literally or they need your help. I'm like, as a coach, because I do that too. They hit a wall, they hit a brick wall. They want to move around it, they want to move through it, but they can't. So
Yeah.
that's where I come in or the mindset and motion method comes in. So you have to identify, okay, I'm going through a divorce. I can be paralyzed or I need to get through it. So the second is to believe. So whatever, I'm sorry, yes, no, believe. So believe is the second one. So it's like, okay, I believe I can get through it. You might not really truly own that yet, but you have
Mm.
to just tell yourself, "I believe I can get through this," and just let it go. Then you have to internalize it. This is where the work starts. You're writing it out, you're visual. What's my life gonna be like after I get out from behind this divorce? What are my kids' lives gonna look like? You know, what is my day-to-day gonna be like instead of sitting here suffering through this divorce and being upset all the time and complaining to my friends, you know, what do I want my life to be? I feel like I mean, I haven't been divorced, thank God, but I've just seen so many people waste so much of their life going through divorce.
You're
And
spot on.
just
I've gone through
right?
divorce, and
Oh,
everything you're saying is spot on.
it's just it's it and I just I of course, my heart goes out, but it's just they're talking to their friends about it and, of course, there are people are supportive, but it just goes on and on and on. So take control, mindset and motion method. You know what you need to get through, believe it whether you believe it or not, internalize it, write, journal, visualize, meditate, all of those sorts of things. Then you have to share only with supportive people, not with everyone. People will there'll be some people who will enable you to keep complaining because they're in a certain place, right? You need to share with supportive people. And the supportive people came in when I ran the LA Marathon on mindset alone, no training, zero. So we'll go to that in a minute. But I did not share that with people because people would say, "You're crazy. You never trained for it." So share with supportive people, same in divorce and, whatever it is you're going through. And then you have to activate. So if you're going through divorce, what you need to activate is whether you need therapist, you need the right attorney, you need a therapist for your child, you might need a investigator for finances if one of the spouses is there's a lot of money issues, of course, and that's usually the stem of divorce as well. So
Yep.
you have to align yourself with professionals.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and think you're going to do it on your own. I'm part of the National Association of Divorce Professionals, and our group is all about all the different people that support people going through divorce.
Mm.
I had no idea how many different people help those going through divorce. So that's when the activation comes in order for you to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
So you can take that 5-step process with anything. I um, ask you just pick something today and after the show and walk yourself through it or walk yourself through you're writing a book. You have a podcast, right? Any goals you have, especially it's the top of the new year, follow
Exactly.
those steps, and I guarantee you'll start to like it's nice to put something in a framework. Once you put it in a framework, it makes it easy, and I've done it with everything.
Yeah.
So it just makes it easier for people to follow.
I mean, I completely agree. It's, if you're a master chef and I want to bake a cake and I don't know anything about
Right,
cooking,
right.
like I can have an idea, okay, like there's flour that goes into it and eggs and milk, but I don't know the order, the sequence. I don't know the oven temperature. But if you give me the recipe, which you gave me, and I follow it, I'm going to make the same cake you make, which is spectacular.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I'm a firm believer of if somebody knows the road ahead
Right.
and they've for you, for example, have applied this successfully multiple times, then there's no reason I should reinvent the wheel. Zero.
Exactly. And that's what
Like
I s
I'm just wasting time and
yeah.
I'm wasting ChatGPT's energy because
Yeah.
I can go to you, the source. I'm like, okay, here's how I do it.
I'd say that's I like to draw out things, something you just said, and this is so important, and we know it, but it's you'll get younger people or people starting in a new, position, or you'll have, like, in my charities over the years, I'll have, women who graduated from all these fancy schools, and they're trying to reinvent the wheel in the charity that's already working. It's like, do not reinvent the wheel, and when I started real estate, I was very nervous to go from rentals into sales. How am I gonna do this? And I listened to my mentor. I did not second guess her. I just listened to everyone who gave me advice, and I did so well my first year. I didn't know I was doing well until the staff said, "Hey, Debbie, I wanna let you know you're in the top 10." And I'm like, "That's impossible. I'm surrounded by all these ladies from Piedmont that I grew up with their children." And, but you just listen, and I just don't know why people try to reinvent. It's like it's been done before.
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple: set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy. You focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time. I mean, it goes back to your step number 4. It's finding the supportive people,
Yeah,
but I had the principal of my school, my senior year, he would always say, consider the source.
yeah,
And, like somebody's picking on you at school, he's like, consider the source. Like, do
right,
the words actually matter? But
right,
then simultaneously, to your point, if somebody's highly successful, like the your managing broker, for example, and they're your mentor, they're coaching you. They've seen hundreds of agents. They've seen them succeed. They've seen them fail. They know it's kind of like a master chef can look at a cake and tell you everything that you
right,
screwed up without tasting it, without touching it.
right.
And so when that person, like the source, is like, hey, keep doing this thing, it's working. And you're like,
Exactly.
okay, like don't futz with it. It's working.
It's like I've been there, I've seen that, I've done that, you don't need to argue with me, or my husband's the broker, he's been a broker for 35 years, he's managed so many agents, so no other agent who's an agent is gonna see the kind of deals and issues that have crossed his desk, so it's like, yeah, I've seen it, I can work through it. I
Yeah.
know the answer, and, yeah, just don't second guess. Get a mentor. A mentor is just I know a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna give a little bit of money, to the mentor if I'm on a team or something," and it's like, what you're gonna learn, you're not gonna learn something in school, you're gonna learn someone who has boots on the ground. I mean, it is so invaluable to work on a team or be part of have a mentor, and, um, it's key to success.
I mean, not for nothing, getting your license is textbook scenarios.
Yeah,
And you and I both know nothing is textbook. And Like, tell me a time in your 35 years of career where two deals were exactly the same.
Never.
Never. Like, it's never the same clients. It's never the same property. It's never the same lenders. It's never the same problems,
Right.
situations. And
Set of
so,
buyers, set of sellers, set of, like finances, right? Everyone's different. There's no if it was cookie cutter, yeah, it would be easy. Right.
and that's where like the sensory acuity comes in. Like your husband who has seen these things hundreds of times
Yeah.
per year, year over year for multiple years. It's like spend the time up front vetting your mentor, but then don't vet them when they're giving you the answer.
Exactly. That's what makes me crazy. If someone tries to second guess, I'm like, "Are you kidding?" I've, like, lived this.
Yeah, it's like vet them up front. But
Yeah.
then after, if you're to the point where you're asking for advice, you're gonna burn a bridge really fast if you don't say thank you and honor
I
that.
say that in the book. I said, "Mentorship is a two-way street. You should be kind to your mentee. They are your mentor. The mentee should be really kind to the mentor and treat them with kid gloves because it is exhausting to be a mentor."
It
I mean,
totally is.
we put a lot out there, a lot of energy out there, and passion, care, our willingness to want to help. It's very tiring. So I think a lot of times people don't recognize that.
Yeah, yeah. I think from being in the seat, and it's funny. Like like literally, my phone is. I'm getting a text from somebody who's asked me a ton of questions. So the mentee, and being in that mentor seat and having been in the mentee seat is, I think the worst thing people do is not honor the advice.
Yeah.
Is in and what I mean by that is if I say, "Hey Debbie, I'm thinking about writing a book. What's the best place to start?" And you're like, "You know what? Talk to these three people." The follow-up email in a week should be like, "Hey Debbie, thanks so much for recommending those three people. I spoke to them and this was the advice they told me. Thank you so much for your guidance. Really appreciate it. Talk soon."
Oh
And
my god.
now in the like a year from now when I call you up, you not only know I'm going to run with that advice, but I'm going to actually appreciate it and appreciate your time and effort. And so now you're going to be more willing to spend that time and invest in me in that future. Whereas, like, "Hey, Debbie, thanks, thanks."
Right.
And you never hear from them again. And then you're like, "Hey, did you ever," you bump into them at a cafe and you're like, "Hey, did you
Right.
ever call those three people?" "No, I decided to call so and so. I talked to Johnny and he said to call blah, blah, blah. So I did." And you're like,
Right.
off the list.
Absolutely.
Never talk to them again.
Yeah. It's so true. A simple, like, email back or follow-up, and a lot of times I do say to the person, "Let me know how it goes because I wanna know how it goes," but it's like they should do that. They should know to do that, and that is part of being human, but part of what we do and part of being successful and, being remembered.
Yeah. What's funny is Peter Monti first introduced us.
Yeah.
And I after this ends, I'm going to be like, "Hey, I just had another amazing recording with Debbie. Thanks
Yeah.
so much for introducing us."
Yeah.
It's, I think when you're in a business of networking like we are, it's, you have to just constantly look for those opportunities. But then when
Yes.
you have that problem and you're trying to work through this situation, that the number four, you have all of those supportive people. Like they're
Right.
already lined up for you. You can just,
Right, exactly, keep nurturing them.
and then that, like, they may need you one day and you may need them.
Yeah,
And it's all teed up. And it's
exactly.
like that's relationship. Um
And in the exercises and I do put exercises at the end of each chapter, because for me, when I'm reading a book, it's like I always wanna implement, so it takes me forever to get through a book because 'cause I'm trying to implement all the
Smart.
lessons.
Smart.
So I make them stop at the end and just, because 'cause you're reading, you're inspired, but if there's no stop point, you would keep reading, so it's like, "Okay, now here's your action," whatever it is, write it down because if you're reading something, there's something that's gonna resonate with you, whatever it is, there's a place there to write it down. I think that's
Yeah.
super important for. to really get the value and to have it hit home with you.
I agree. I mean, I think if you're reading a book for improvement, you should 100% every single page, you should be looking for something to put into your life immediately. Like, and stop. As soon as
Yeah.
you find it, stop and go take an immediate action towards putting it in. Like,
Yeah.
don't just keep reading and kind of like, oh, I'll do it later. You're not going to do it later.
Right, exactly. Stop and do it now. I'm also you can, if you're not going to write in the book, you can also take out your notes on your phone and, do chapter by chapter and write it there so you have it for future as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'm notorious for sending an email to my team of like, hey, I read X, Y, and Z. Let's talk about this at our next meeting, and get them involved and get other people involved, so
Yeah.
there's like a stickiness to it. I'm super curious. This is like way out of left field, but in your professional career, what's the one thing that you are just most proud of? Like, what's your, if you were to say that's my legacy
Yeah.
within within my professional life, what is that?
I think that I I truly care so much, I guess, to a fault sometimes, of course. Um, but I really care about every single person I work with, and it just clicks on. Like, after this, I'm gonna speak to a client I've never met, she was referred to me, but it'll click on that I just wanna help her, whatever it is, and to the best of my ability, and to she will get 110%. I just go again, like, I just go into this mode, whether it's my droid mode when I ran the marathon with no train without training, or it's my real estate client. I just am in this mode to really serve them
Mhm.
and always answer right away because no one wants to wait. And someone called yesterday, an attorney. She's like, "You always pick up." It's like I just want to serve and take care of it, and then I don't have to take care of it later. It's like I'm there, I was doing something, but I answered the phone, and it was a great call, and you never know when those calls are gonna come in. Um, so I just think serving my clients at all price points with 100% of passion, care, and kindness as well as and most people don't get this, you certainly do because you have a group called Realtor 180, but not only serving my clients, but I'm also in a strong relationship with, the agent on the other side.
Yeah.
We are a team, we are colleagues, we are not competitors, we work together, and most people that's the first thing I train, collaboration is key when I'm coaching agents. Uh,
Yeah.
it is so important to be team players with everyone, not just people who are, who are who've hired you to help them. It's like we work together as a team.
Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show. Yeah. That's such a lovely legacy that and I'm sure the feeling that you have thinking about your clients, they have that feeling towards you of being supported and nurtured through this crazy experience of a
Yeah,
transaction. Yeah, it's really fascinating, the collaboration component. I feel like my entire business turned a corner when I realized, like, you and I are in real estate, you and I work with clients. We're trying to win bids. We're trying to do all this stuff. But the math is, we have a 0.0001% chance of ever competing against each other,
right,
but we have 100% chance of collaborating any day of the week at any point where, and I know you do this because you've done it, but I call you and you answer right away. And I'm like, hey, Debbie, question. And then you're like, okay, fire. And it's just like, it's like those connections out in this business. I think as any entrepreneur, when you stop looking at everybody's competition, but you start looking at them as collaboration.
right.
And to kind of go back to the beginning is, people who have traveled down the road multiple times before know the road that you're about to go on.
Right.
And so just ask, they will tell you. And if
Right.
you're in good flow with people, they'll just be like, they'll pick up the call and they'll say, here's how you manage it, or here's how you attack that problem, or here's how I think about it.
Right. Right. Don't overthink it. There's, or if you're new, it's, just say to your client, I'll get right back to you and call someone, get some help. Um, on us just piggybacking on being kind and helpful and to my client and to the other side. Um, at least 3 times I recently was reminded that an agent called me or a business person called me, and I'll give this one example because the outcome was so great, nothing I expected because it was years ago. A contractor was getting in the business, and he called a bunch of agents, and everyone said, don't have time," or didn't answer. He called me, I said, "Sure, let's meet." So we met at Tara's Cafe for coffee, we chatted, he asked me questions, we talked. And that was it, and then I said, "Oh, we're doing workshop Wednesday, do you wanna come speak and talk about ADUs?" I invited him into the office, he came and he spoke, and, but what I left in him was and then recently, a couple years later, his office is really beautiful now, it's in Emeryville, it's very, very high end, and they do a lot of from design, interior design and architecture to everything, they just have a whole team and he invited me to come in, and I was like, "Wow, this is so great, congratulations," and he was telling one of the people who work with us now on our team how I had was the only one who returned his call and made the time for him,
Yeah.
and he was so appreciative, and then a couple weeks go by, and he's like, "Hey, I have 3 tickets to, the floor at the Warriors games with, club level with food, drinks." We were 5 seats up from the floors. Steph
Amazing.
Curry was right his eye line with I am with you right now, and the Warriors team was right there on my left, and then you had the food and drinks and everything, and we're right there walking right past the Warriors on their level and VIP parking. I mean, I wouldn't go any other way. It was so incredible, and I was so thankful. Of course, I brought him a little gift. He was like, "Oh, we appreciate you so much. You don't need to do anything."
Yeah.
And I've done it for random agent strangers who I didn't know who called me and no one would call them back, and I was explaining the sewer lateral ordinance or, something that it doesn't take that long to respond to someone or answer someone's question.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot too. Just
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, it kind of, it's to treat people how you want to be treated. And if
Except
you're brand new in the business, trying to cut your teeth in a highly competitive environment that we're in, just it takes 5 minutes out of your day to respond to somebody. It's funny that you immediately reminded me. I got into the business. I had a few sales under my belt. A lender reached out and said, like, it was super concise. It was like, "Hey, I'm new at XYZ Bank. I would love to meet with you for 15 minutes and grab a coffee. Like, do you have time next week?" And I was like, "I'll bite." And so we went for coffee, and literally at 15 minutes, he's like, "Hey, that's time. Um, like, let's blah, blah, blah." And we wound up like staying in connection. I think it was the following year we wound up doing 9 deals together.
wow.
I've gone fishing with them. We've gone camping. We've gone hunting. Like, he's now become a friend of mine, and it's all just
Yeah,
by, just giving somebody 15 minutes.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
which
That's
goes back to the mentee side, is be very clear. It goes back to your list. Have a goal and be
yeah,
very clear.
yeah,
Like,
clarity.
"Hey, Debbie, I would love to pick your brain for 15 minutes. We can set a timer, but I would love to ask you about X, Y, and Z." And it's like, that's 15 minutes. Like, at that point where it's not open ended, it's like, I can hang up after 15 minutes.
No,
It frees that potential mentor, it frees
no,
them way up to
right.
like, all right, it's not going to be this hour long commitment and you're just going to try to like sales pitch me or whatever it may
Right.
be.
Yeah. Oh, that's what a great story. That's amazing. I have an agent, well, she was a stranger who was an agent, and she came into my open house, and I don't remember this, but I told her when I asked, "Do you have a family, single?" Like, trying to figure out where would be a good community since she didn't know the area. I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, you don't wanna live here. It's too many it's families and you're single. I don't think you'd really like it." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." And then I never remembered that, and then years went by, we ended up doing a deal together, and she was really nice, and she was also Italian, but she was really nice, and it was a little condo, it was nothing, and she told me the story about how nice I was to her because a lot of agents weren't nice to her because
Yeah.
she was an agent and she wasn't gonna buy from them, so they, didn't wanna have anything to do with her, and she said, "You were so nice to me." And you gave me great advice, and so we did that deal together, and I was gonna go up to the Carneros Inn for my birthday. I was just taking myself up to go for the day and have a spa day in the middle of the week, and I said, "Hey, do you wanna go with me? I'm just going to the spa for the day and get out of town." And she's like, "Sure." So she came with me, we had such a great time, and now she's like an aunt to the kids. She's been in our life forever. She works with us in our real estate company, and we've become family. But it was a crazy, yeah, like, you didn't think you were gonna be best friends with this lender.
No, you have that's the amazing part of like being an entrepreneur and setting your own schedule and kind of going where the wind blows, if you'd
Yeah,
like. And you just don't know. It's like you never know where these things are going to lead, so you might as well just explore them.
exactly, and just my tagline every day that I wake up that I mentioned to you earlier, every day I look for the opportunities. I look,
I
"What
love that.
what is that opportunity?"
I love that, and it's such a good way to frame, opposed to, oh, what's going to blow up today, or who's going to be hassling me. Like instead you're like, oh, where's the it like it
Look for
immediately
the
puts
magic.
you it like you're looking for magic. You're just like, this is amazing. Where's the opportunity going to pop up from? I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what happens to you today.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's always an adventure. I mean,
Exactly.
even this, like when we
Right,
were,
today, right now, this conversation is great.
I
Oh, there he
my
goes.
dog's excited too. The perfect timing,
Yeah,
as she always does. Yeah, I mean, even learning about your book, it was, I can't remember, we were talking about something else and we
yeah,
stumbled on it. I hope
yeah.
the editor can clean it up. Someone's at the door and she clearly hates it. We're gonna have to clip that. Awesome. And so the people who've stayed tuned this far and have heard about your amazing book, I know you're doing some pre-orders. Where
Yes.
can they actually find that?
Yeah, so you can go to mindsetinmotionbook.com.
Okay.
Anyone who pre-orders, I will have their email will be in that link. They'll provide their email. They'll get a signed copy,
Nice.
as well as a free downloadable that will come to them as soon as it's published, and the goal is, early February. So mindsetinmotionbook.com, you can use the mindset in motion method to help you through any transition,
Mm,
goal, dream. You can use the 5-step process, and then I go through all the different ways. It's about, I don't know, 150, 200 pages, but there's a lot of ways for you to just uh, every chapter has a space for you to write out what you learned that chapter,
smart.
so you can implement as you're reading. You can implement and work towards your goals as you're reading the book.
I'm gonna order mine as soon as we hang up, and
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to get it.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited for it to come out, and my big goal, and remember, share with supportive people. So I'm going to share with you, Sean. My goal is with the book. So my other books were more therapy. The 4 books before were more therapy, and I was going through the empty nest and real estate books because the publisher said you need to write a book. So it was things that kind of happened.
Yeah.
This didn't happen to me. This is something that I want to do, and I love helping people. So I would like to I'm sharing with my supportive people, I would like to take this on the road, and I would like to go speak with it, go to be on panels. Actually, I have to close with this one thing, how things happen, act coincidence, I think not. So I've been putting this out there that this is it. And what I want to do is speak with it and go on the road with it and
Yeah.
really make this book a big book, an impactful book that touches a lot of people. So New Year's Day, my daughter was with me in LA. It was early. I had an early morning appointment, like 7:30, I think a doctor appointment on Zoom. And I got a text and they're saying, come meet us. I heard you're in town. Come meet us at the Beverly Wilshire for breakfast. And Bianca, do you want to go? She's like, no, you just go, mom. So I had like an hour between taking the car in and I'm sitting there and there's the 4 of us or 3 of us, and then in comes this woman who wasn't scheduled to come to breakfast, and she sits down, and my friend's saying, "Tell her about your books, tell her about your books," and I'm like, "I don't wanna talk about myself," and it didn't seem like the right time, and then she started talking about how she is hosting a panel on mindset.
Wild.
I was like,
That's wild.
oh, and then my friend's looking at me, "I told you." And I'm like, "I'm writing a book on mindset." So I am on the panel for the 20th in 2 weeks, and it has launched
Kudos.
what what I have been manifesting and putting out to the
That's
world that I
fun.
want to do.
That's amazing. When the book's published, after I read it, we'll do a session in that inner circle group,
Okay.
and then we can
Yeah.
you'll get the panel it there.
I would love that. Number 2. Got number 2.
I would, yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer in mindset. I really genuinely think it's the one thing you can 100% control,
Right.
and if you cultivate it and condition it in the right way, you can achieve some amazing things. And I love when I talk to you, I had a mentor years ago, and he's like, when you're on that right path, when you're doing the thing that you're really genuinely supposed to be doing, opportunities are just going to keep appearing to remind you that you're doing that path. And when you're not receiving them, when those things aren't like
Popping up.
popping up, it's because you've gone astray, and you
Right.
got to go back to figuring it out. And I similarly, I was sharing with you, I've recently had more of those weird coincidences,
Yeah.
like repetitive coincidences that I can't explain.
Right.
Here's a weird woo woo story for you.
Yeah.
This is super bizarre, but one of my very early mentors passed away,
Oh.
and I was talking to Cielo about all these weird coincidences, and the radio was on. And
Mm.
as I'm sharing with her these weird coincidences that were happening, this song comes on from the band, and Rick Danko's the singer. And I go, you know what's funny is Mark, my mentor, was the pallbearer at Rick's funeral.
Oh my
And I
god.
was like, are there any more like weird coincidences that are gonna just keep like
Wow.
popping up in my life?
That's crazy. I know. It's true. Coincidence, I think not. These things are just you have to be on the lookout for the magic and read into it sometimes, and it's just incredible, and that's what makes life exciting, I think.
I would agree. Debbie, has been an amazing pleasure. I genuinely appreciate your time, and I look forward to reading the book. I think it's going to be
Thank
a great
you.
one.
Thank you so much again for having me on your podcast. I love it, and I love our conversations.
Of course, my pleasure.